case. The person who is hurting me is evil. This is simple. Help me. And he walks by and goes off to his next case in his court. But she doesn't give up there. She sees he's going off with his associates off to lunch, and so she follows there, and she's outside the window, as it were, and she's knocking on the window and saying, "It's me again. Would you listen to me? I am in desperate condition. The world is crushing down on me, and I have no recourse. I don't know where to turn. I don't know what to do. I have no husband. I have no kids. I have no money. I have no power. I have no authority. I have nothing. You are my hope. I need you." And he pulls the shade down and goes about his lunch. She chases him to the market. The judge is walking with his wife. He's holding her hand, and she's coming before him, and she's begging, "Please, please, ma'am, help your husband to see that I'm desperate. Have mercy on me. I'm desperately wanting." She shows up the next morning at the judge's home, and as the judge is kissing his son on the forehead and telling him to have a good day as he goes off to work, she's pleading, "Have mercy on me. Love me like you love this guy. I'm desperate and I need you." She keeps on coming. She comes and comes and comes. She doesn't go away. Why? She needs this guy. She has faith that this guy can help her with her problem. So in verse 4, it says this. For a while, he refused. That's expected, isn't it? It's expected because his moral compass doesn't point towards doing what is right. His moral compass says, God, he spits at God and says, I'm the authority. Mankind, who I'm empowered to judge, I don't care about them. I only care about what you can give me. He refused, and we can see exactly why he refused. He refused because he's only about himself. Now, I'll show you how I think we know that this is a bigger problem than we're seeing right here. We're going to come back right here to this word, but we'll read up a little bit, then we'll come back, okay? So follow that, right? So read with me. For a while he refused. We'll come back here. But afterward he said to himself, though I neither fear God nor respect men, yet because this widow keeps on bothering me, and there's some jewels in there that we can see. The word bother there means intense labor united with trouble and toil. So this lady's coming, and she's not saying, hey, listen, this guy took $1 from me, and here he is, and he's acknowledging he took the $1. Could you judge? I mean, the guy would judge on that in a second. He'd say, guilty, give her the $1 back, give her another $1 back because you stole the first one. It'd be slam dunk done. See what's going on with this woman? She's got something tricky going on. She's got something hard going on. She's got something that's going to cost this judge a huge amount of labor. And if it was just work, that would be one thing. But it's going to be toilsome labor. And not only is it going to be toilsome, it is going to be grueling. It's going to cost him. Maybe she's got a case against the judge's lover on the side. Maybe it's against the judge's friend who he goes out and he hangs with at nighttime. Maybe there's something going on in this woman's life where her oppressor and adversary is going to cause the judge to have to say, I don't want to get involved with that because it is too toilsome, it's too hard, it's too tricky, and it's going to cost me hugely. Get away from me. You see, that's what the word there, bothersome, means. And when she comes, she's coming with a bothersome item to bring. See, there's a reason why the judge is blowing her off. He can't blow off everybody. It's his job. He's blowing her off because she's weak, because she has no authority, and he can, and her case is just too hard to handle. I don't want to get involved with me. It's too costly for me. Okay, now go back, okay? Go back to verse 4. For a while he refused, and then the word but. I don't know about you. I mark up on my page, and I circle the word but there. Remember what but does? It erases everything that came before it. So refuse, but we're going to erase that. And he had to change of heart. And afterward he said to himself, though I neither fear God nor I respect man, and what that's saying is this lady is bugging me to death. I can't stand it any longer. I don't know what to do. I cannot stand this. I don't give a rip about God. So he didn't have this moral thing that was saying, I need to fear God. And you know what, God, I can see I'm wrong. Let me deal with it. Not at all. He wasn't dealing with that. Also, he wasn't saying to her, I feel sorry for you. I will take care of the widow. I'll come. I'll be your protector. I'll be your... He wasn't saying that at all. He didn't care about God, and he still didn't care about her. But what he did is he cared about himself, and he put on the balance how much it was going to cost him to try this case compared to blowing her off. And then he has to compare now because she's so intense and coming to him. But how much it cost me to try the case now is not as bad as her continual obsessive hunting me down. She won't stop. So let's review here for a second. The judge is powerful. He's an authority. As far as moral, he's ethicless, he's godless. And as far as motivation, he's self-centered. Okay, so we got the judge. Because we got to get the judge because we're going to learn something. See, we're going to learn this. 2 lives to live. One can be one filled with weariness and toil, causing you to quit and give up. And one can be filled with prayer, and it can't be both ways. It's either or. Why? Why does prayer do this? And the parable Jesus is teaching, because that's a tricky thing. Why? So he's going to teach us that. And so we see who the judge is. So we got that. Now let's see another person. Review. Widow. She's weak. She's got no power. She's alone. She's got no one to come. Someone once said something to my wife and screamed at her. Maybe this is just a little warning, but screamed at my wife. And it was my issue, and they screamed at my wife. Coward. Coward. And I heard it, and Cheryl's tough. She can handle it. And then I thought about that a little later on. Pity the next man who comes and screams at my wife when they should be screaming at me. Pity the next man. I am going to be all over that. Don't be that person, because I'm going to protect fast and hard. This woman has no one to protect her. Her husband is dead. He is out of the picture. She is weak and she is alone. As it comes to her morals, she's just. She wants something that's just. And when it comes to her motivation, all she has is faith in the judge. I have nowhere to turn, but I know that he's powerful, and he has authority, and even though he's not the greatest guy, I have nowhere else to turn. He's my hope. Her request was fair and reasonable and right, and here's her options. She can either bribe the judge to get in before the court. That was a common thing. If you want to get into the court, you have to bribe. But she's got no money. He could threaten the judge. She can get him in an alley and say, I'm going to hurt you. And except for, she's got no might. She's got no power. Or she can pathetically plead before the judge. That's her only option. To pathetically plead over and over and over. You are my helper, my need, my protection. You're it. I'm begging you. Help me. Okay? So we getting a picture here? Okay. So here we are, verse 4. For a while he refused, but afterward he said to himself, even though I'm not a good guy, even though I don't love God, and even though I don't respect men, verse 5, we see justice is granted here, verse 5. Yet because this widow keeps on bothering me, she's coming with this intense, laborious, troublesome, toilsome issue, I'll give her justice. And what's the word justice mean? It means I'll protect her. The word justice is one of protection. I will protect her. Who's saying this? It is the judge who's saying this. It is the one who has authority to say this. It is the one who has the power to say this. He is saying, I, the judge, will protect her. And so she will not come and she will not beat me down. The word beat me down means to beat black and blue. I mean, she just kept on coming at him and at him and at him and at him. So he was bruised and hurt. You know, see, if you get somebody that bumps into something and they get a little black and blue, you don't think that's not a big deal. But if you see somebody who's been in an accident and they are black and blue all over, they are in a painful, painful, painful situation. Maybe you've had that happen where you've had a big nasty, bruised. That's where this guy is. He is in a nasty situation, and he wants out of it. So I will finally give her justice. Yeah. And she beats me down by her continual coming. It's an intolerable annoyance. So I'll give her justice. So that's the parable Jesus teaches. So he's got a question. The question is in verse 1, and he told the disciples a earthly story with a heavenly meaning. So we got the earthly story part, right? So we're getting that. And so to teach this concept. And what's the concept? To show that they ought to always pray and not lose heart. Because if you don't pray, you will lose heart. If you do pray, you won't lose heart. How does that happen? Well, that's tricky. So let me tell you this earthly story to get it. Here's the story. So what's the meaning? What is the meaning that is going on here? And so we see that in verse 6, the parable explained. It says this, and the Lord said, hear what the unrighteous judge says, verse 7, and will not God, who is an authority, he's an authority, isn't he? No one gives him his authority. He is, and always has been. He is the authority. There is no one to grant him authority like the judges granted by the government authority. He is the authority. God is the authority. He rules, and what he says goes. He has authority. Implicit in his name is the fact that he has this authority. He gives justice. He has the power to act. He can give justice to whom he desires to give justice. If I was you, I'd mark down in my Bible what justice is. Justice is protecting and defending. God protects who he wants, and he defends who he wants. He's the authority. Nobody can judge him, and he does what he wants. And he gives this to his elect. Those are the ones he loves. For those who come to a personal relationship with Christ, who've confessed their sins before God. If you haven't done that, you can become one of those people. Just respond to the gospel by putting God as your Lord and believing that Christ died in your place. To those people he loves. And unlike the unjust judge, God is just and fair. He loves his people. He loves them. And then it says, and will not God, the authority, give justice? He has the power to act to his elect. He's morally good. And he gives it to those who cry out to him day and night. Kind of just like exactly the widow did, right? Because here we're going to get where the comparisons come in, right? So I get this. So the widow kept on coming to the judge and asking and asking and asking. And the authoritative God from heaven has the power to act. He'll act for me because he loves me. If I cry out to him night and day, will he delay long over them? He says no. I tell you, he will grant justice to them speedily. Speedily. So then the question needs to say, so what is the meaning? What's the meaning? And here's what lots of people say. They say that we need to be persistent and consistent in our prayer. Persistent and consistent. We need to practice consistency in our prayer. So we need to be praying all the time. And don't give up in your praying. Keep on praying. Pray, 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 pray. Pray, 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 pray. Keep on praying. And of course there's an element of that, isn't there, in this whole thing? There's another text that I think more clearly teaches that. It says pray without ceasing, 1 Thessalonians 5. Pray without ceasing. But I don't believe it's this text that's teaching just keep praying, 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 praying. And if we get this wrong, then we're going to say, well, then I feel heavy and burdened and weighed down by what's going on in my life. And so I prayed, but the weight never is removed. I just keep on praying. I've never done this, but there's been people I've seen them. They have these beads, and they say a prayer for every one of those beads. They keep on saying all these words. Lots and lots and lots of words. People chant. They have these memorized prayers. They say over and over and over. Their mind can be in neutral, but they keep on saying all these words. And it's almost something like this. It's almost like if we repeat our request over and over, we believe that the quality of our prayer is dependent on the quantity of our words. I just keep on praying. And what will that do for you? Well, maybe it'll do this, because I repeat my request because God is ignorant in the sense that he doesn't know. God just doesn't know, so I'll just repeat those over and over and over, and then I'll inform him. He'll get me. I'll pester him. Like, you ever see a kid in the grocery store who's got his mom's pants by the thing, and he wants the chocolate, and she's not getting the chocolate, and they keep on yanking on that thing and pulling on the leg. I want the chocolate, 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 I want the chocolate. Uninformed. Don't you know I want the chocolate? Do we think that that's what God is? Is he uninformed about our life? And that's what a deist would say, that God spins life into being, and then he goes away, and he has nothing to do with it. I don't think that's what this is talking about at all. God is very informed about what's going on. And he's also very concerned. He's informed and he's concerned about you and me. He's concerned about his people. I don't think we go back and ask and ask and ask and ask so we can practice consistency so that God gets informed. Do we repeat our prayers because God is in some way evil, that he's unwilling to answer our prayer? And so if we prevail on him over and over and over, we can transform a hard-hearted God into one who listens and has compassion towards us? Of course, we wouldn't believe that that's the case. How about this? Do we petition God and hope that he'll be swayed, that if we put on a show of zeal and religiousness, of coming, and if God sees this and he'll say, wow, that person must really love me, and we'll trick God into giving us what we want? Friends, I don't think that is at all what's going on. And yet there's lots and lots and lots of people that would say the purpose of the parable is to practice consistency. We need to be consistent in prayer without ceasing. But that is not what this passage is talking about. So then you ask the question, so then well, what does it mean? I mean, what's it mean? And here's what you do when you get stuck on an answer in life. I believe this with all of my heart. You go back to the text, friends. You see? Because Dr. Phil's wisdom, and he's wise, but it doesn't cut it. Oprah doesn't cut it. People just can't give us what we need. We need to go back to the text. So join me back in the text, okay? And look at verse 8. We didn't quite finish it. And we'll find here the secret of what this text is all about. Beginning at the beginning of 8, I tell you, he will give you justice to the elect who cry out to him day and night. I will tell you that he will give justice to them speedily. And now it says, nevertheless. Now, the word nevertheless means but, okay? But when the Son of Man comes, will he find faith on the earth? I don't know, the first dozen times I read that, I'm kind of thinking this. I got the parable, I got the question. There's two ways to live, a life of prayer or a life of fear and weariness. And I got that, and I'm marching on this thing. And so now I'm thinking, okay, it's going to be talking about consistency, and so I'm going to get my whip out and whip you. Pray. Give you a little book. You can check it off every day when you pray, and you can make sure it's so many minutes. And all that, pray. Practice consistency. And then all of a sudden he throws into here, but when the Son of Man comes, will he find faith? What in the world is going on there? I mean, what does that have to do with what is happening? It has a lot to do with what's happening. And let's see if we can figure that out. Look at it again. Will he find faith? So we got a tricky spiritual concept. One can be a person who's weary, who gives up and quits, or one can be a person of prayer and overcome that. Here's a story, a judge and a widow, and in that we see the earthly story, and now he brings up this point of, will he find faith? Where was faith in the story? Where's faith in the story? And we see the faith of the widow. We see the faith of the widow. See, she had great faith that the judge was the man that could be her protector. She believed that. She got that. She believed it. She understood his power. She understood his position. She understood when he acts. If he acts against my adversary, then I'm set. I'm set. She believed that. She grasped that. Nobody can convince her anyway. I could imagine some of her friends said, back off. Stop it. You're going to drive the guy insane. What are you chasing him for? Because he's my only hope, and I'm being crushed, just like Jonah in the belly of that fish, crushed and digested, and she was about ready to give up, and so she kept on pleading with the judge. She believed that he had the power and the authority. She didn't believe he was a good guy. It didn't matter if he was a good guy. When he spoke, what he spoke was right. We're not comparing, is God a good judge? That's not the principle or the point of the parable. The point of the parable is that he had power and authority. So, then what does that mean for me? Do I believe that God is my hope? Do I believe that God is my hope? Is God the one who will protect and deliver me? When life comes crushing down upon me, I wrote some things down. I could write down a million more, but how about this one? When you're fighting against your adversary, and your adversary is cancer. Your adversary is cancer. Cancer is going to kill you at some point, or something's going to kill you. So it's not, can I beat the cancer? You can't beat the cancer. Eventually it's going to get you. But how about when I'm all by my lonesome, there's no one else there, and I'm being crushed by saying, God, why am I not going to get to see my daughter get married? Why? Answer that. I'll die, but give me 7 more years so I can